just after 7 p.m. and we are called to order.
I believe we were muted.
Uh-oh.
So would you mind?
Start over again. I have to reproduce my chipper. All right, are we unmuted?
We are
All
unmuted.
right, trying again here. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Tumwater's Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. It's 7:01 or 2 p.m. and we are called to order. I'll start with roll call. Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Commissioner Kirkpatrick.
Here.
Commissioner Kotek.
Here.
Commissioner Nelson, we're unsure of. New commissioner, Commissioner Rounsley. Terrific. Commissioner Staff, Vice Chair Staff.
Here.
Terrific. And me, your chair, Commissioner Robbins. We have a quorum, so we will proceed. Changes to the agenda, I'm going to just suggest that right after approval of minutes, that we do a little round of introductions to welcome our new commissioner and introduce themselves. And then we can move on. Does anybody have any other changes to the agenda? Good. Let's go to approval of our minutes. Two sets. Session, visions, motion.
Move approval of the minutes of September 9th, 2025, March 10th, 2026.
Good. I'll second. It was moved by Commissioner Kirkpatrick and seconded by Commissioner Kotek to approve both sets of minutes for September 9th, 2025 and March 10th, 2025. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor of approving both sets of minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Both sets are approved. Thanks very much. Those are working out really well. Let's take now just a few minutes and introduce ourselves and welcome Matt Rounsley. Do you want to start out? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so hello everyone, I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited to be on the Planning Commission. My name's Matt, or Matthew, does not matter to me. Rounsley, I grew up in Thurston County, born and raised. I grew up and graduated from Tenino High School. For the last 3 years, I actually served on the Tenino Planning Commission. And then a spot opened up on the Tumwater Planning Commission. I've actually lived in Tumwater that whole 3 years. Tenino doesn't have a boundary requirement. So I decided it was time for me to make that switch to the community that I'm living in and calling home. So that's why I am now on the Tumwater Planning Commission. I'm very excited to deep dive into some of the policy and planning around Tumwater. It's very much something that I have been enjoying. My professional life, I work over the county as an executive assistant. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Would anybody like to start? Other commissioners? Or I'll tell you what, I'll go online so we don't forget our folks online. Commissioner Edwards, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello. Hi. I'm Grace. I have been on the Planning Commission, I think, almost going on 5 years now, something like that. Also a lifelong resident of Thurston County. For my day job, I work as a business systems analyst for the Department of Retirement Systems. And along with this, I am also a member of the Thurston County Historic Commission. So welcome. We're very excited to have you. Nice to meet you.
Great, thanks. Vice Chair Staff, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll go next. My name's Brandon Staff. I've been a resident of Tumwater since 2019. I've been on the Planning Commission, I think around 3 years now. Seems like 2 weeks. It's just such a good time. I'm also a board member for Experience Olympia and Beyond, and I am the Chief Operating Officer at the Hands-On Children's Museum in Olympia.
Great, thanks.
I am Commissioner Kotek, and we went to Thurston County Leadership together, and I actually said, why are you on the commission since Tenino if you live in Tumwater, come join us. And I work at Pete Credit Union.
Very cool.
I'm Charlie Kirkpatrick, and I moved here in '91 and started out on the Planning Commission as a county representative because my portion was still in the county. And Tumwater came along and annexed my neighborhood, and so now I got to be on the inside group. And I had 30 years with the Army Corps of Engineers, 13 years with Department of Natural Resources, civil engineer by trade.
Thanks. And I'm Elizabeth Robbins. I moved to Washington State in 1992, and I moved to Tumwater in 2000. And I retired from state service in 2020 and got on the Planning Commission then. I had really interesting, lovely career at the Department of Transportation, all different kind of things, mostly environmental planning, long-range planning kind of stuff. And anyway, I've been here for a little while and been really enjoying learning about how things go. And I'm kind of like Brandon, where it's so most times there's something new, so you never know it all. Anyway, welcome very much to be with us, and we're looking forward to having you on here. We have I think a couple of people missing is all, or one person missing still, so you'll meet her, I'm sure, at a future meeting. Great, thanks everybody. Any commissioners' reports, things you've been doing out and about, stuff you're seeing or hearing? Okie doke. All right, Deputy Director's report.
I do not have anything this time.
Okay. Let's go to general public comment then. Do we have anybody online? I can't quite see their name.
David Bills.
The Bills. Mr. Bills, if you would like to address the Planning Commission on general matters, this would be the time. We're also going to have a public hearing on a particular ordinance, and I'll call again if you have remarks there, but this would be general comments if you have any. You have about 2 or 3 minutes. If you could state your name and where you live and if you represent anybody. Okie doke. We're pretty sure we got a connection there, right?
Pretty sure.
Okie doke. Okay, well, we'll go on if he is interested in our speaking about our public hearing topic, then we'll call on him again. But all right, let's go to item 8, our public hearing. What I will do is describe our process first. Thank you again for the cheat sheet. So that we can all understand what we're going to be doing, and if anybody were here from the public, they'd know too. And then we'll go into the actual public hearing, I'll call that. So first, what I would do is I would introduce all of us, welcome any attendees, and introduce all of us, explain our procedure that I'm about to go through here when I call open the public hearing itself. I'll state our purpose of the hearing, and then we will get a staff report on our topic, and then the Planning Commission members will get a chance to ask any questions we have of staff, and then I'll open up the public comment on the subject of our hearing, and if there is anybody, we'll listen to that. And then once we've heard from folks, if any, then I will close the public hearing. We can then continue discussing, if we like, either from the staff report or any public testimony we will have heard. And then we can then vote on our topic here tonight. And typically we can either approve or deny or modify our topic. So that's in general our process. Pretty clear? Okie doke. Okay, so I will go ahead and say, if anybody's online with the one person, welcome to our public hearing portion of our meeting here tonight. We're here to hear about some housekeeping amendments, and in particular through a recommendation on the ordinance for ordinance number O-2026-002, and that would be some housekeeping amendments to our Tumwater Code related to planning. I want to remind everybody that we are an advisory body to the City Council. We don't take the action ourselves. Our action tonight is to make a recommendation to Council. They would then decide to agree with that or not as they choose. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open, call the public hearing open and introduce ourselves. I'm your chair, Elizabeth Robbins. We have most of our commissioners here today: Vice Chair Staff, Commissioner Kirkpatrick, Commissioner Rounsley, Commissioner Kotek, Commissioner Edwards here, and we have staff in, and I'm going to get your titles wrong, I'm sure, the Director for Community Development and maybe some other stuff, our Deputy Director for Community Development, and probably other hats too, and Dana Bowers, who's our tried and true staff person and general smart person all around on all our topics. So we should be able to handle any kind of questions that arise tonight. Again, our purpose is to hear the briefing and hear comments on ordinance number O-2026-002, the 2026 housekeeping amendments proposed. And I will then say we will go into our staff report. Is that you, Brad? Very good. Go on ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Brad Medrid. I'm the Community Development Director. I'll take you through a presentation. For most of the Commissioners, this will be fairly familiar. Next slide, please. As Commissioner Robbins noted, that we are conducting a public hearing tonight. The intent is to take public testimony for a recommendation of approval to the City Council on a particular ordinance number 0225-011. Slide, please. A little bit of background on housekeeping.
You said a different number than what I have on my
Oops.
list.
Should be two. It's actually 2026-002. So actually,
Okay.
thank God.
Okay.
It's been a long day, and the fact I didn't notice it was a 25.
Okay. All right, we're on the same page. Go on ahead then.
For those of you who are brand new to the commission, this never happens. And the fact that that particular ordinance number was the 275-page ordinance that we did in December has no bearing or whatsoever on my side.
You didn't want to part with it, just
I haven't.
Okay.
Even therapy hasn't helped with that. So, starting again, we are in 26. We are dealing with ordinance number 026-002. So as part of this process for developing this particular ordinance, last year and this year, staff gathered information on some minor development code housekeeping amendments to the Tumwater Municipal Code. The intent is to consider those things collectively. And also these proposed amendments are really intended to make only minor corrections to our development regulations. We have another of other ordinances that are going to be coming forward that Sharon and Dan are going to be bringing forward that have more specific topics that cover a lot more detail. Next slide, please. So there are 4 amendments that are being considered as part of this ordinance. The first deals with some comments we received from the State Department of Commerce on our housing amendments. This was actually the ordinance I just mentioned from 2025. The second one deals with child care centers. There's been a change in the state legislature about how and where those kinds of uses can be allowed. We have some changes to our signage code. And then lastly, some state changes to the essential public facilities on the state side that we need to reflect in our code. Next slide, please. So the housing amendments are a result of comments that we received from the State Department of Commerce on January 12th, 26, concerning our amendments to meet the new state requirements for accessory dwelling units. A little bit of background. The focus of the legislature in the past 3-4 years has been very heavily in housing. Accessory dwelling units has been part of that discussion, as well as middle housing. There are very specific requirements spelled out in the state law about what we need to include in our code, including maximum sizes for ADUs and other things. So they had 3 specific comments. Mostly they were the clarifications of things that we had in the code. First of all, is making sure that we ensure that accessory dwelling units are defined as being consistent with the dwelling units located in the same lot, meaning essentially that we don't treat them differently aside from the fact they're just an accessory use. So we don't have additional design requirements or things like that. Also to ensure that we allow 2 accessory dwelling units with a principal structure consistent with state law. So on every lot that has a principal structure, you're allowed to have 2 accessory dwelling units. Those accessory dwelling units could be attached or detached, or both detached or both attached. We also needed, the Department of Commerce wanted us to include a statement in our zoning code that clarified that zoning and design review requirements for accessory dwelling units are not more restrictive than those of the principal units. So all the code changes that are contained in the ordinance that deal with that are in response to those comments. Next slide, please. The second set of amendments deals with child care centers, and this is entirely within Title 18, and this is to address the state legislature from last year, which stated in part that cities must allow child care centers and the conversion of existing buildings for use as child care centers as an outright permitted use in all zones, except industrial zones, light industrial zones, and open space zones. So for the purposes of our code, we currently allow child care centers in all of our zones except for our heavy industry zone and industrial zone, and also a couple of our open space zones, because if we don't allow open spaces intended to protect open space with limited uses are very limited. Currently, we define child care centers as a person or agency that provides care for 13 or more children during the part of a 24-hour day. These definitions and other things are derived from state law and has been in place for probably about 20 plus years now. Next slide, please. So currently within our code, child care centers are a conditional use in all of our residential zones, a permitted use in our commercial zones, and a conditional use in our light industrial and airport related industry zone districts. These amendments would change, would allow child care centers as permitted uses in all of our zone districts, except for the light industrial and the airport related industry zone districts where there remain conditional uses. We believe we don't necessarily have to allow child care centers in industrial areas, but at the same time, we do think it's probably a good idea to allow child care centers near employment. And we don't have the kind of heavy polluting industries that would cause other issues as part of that. Next slide, please. We also, as part of this process, did a scrub of all of our code. Over the years, we've accumulated numerous amendments, and so we've had issues where we call things essentially the same thing about 3 or 4 different names. And so what we did is made sure that everything that we refer to as child daycare centers became child care centers, and child mini daycare centers became mini child care centers. Mini child care centers are anything with 3 or less children being served within a 24-hour period. Next slide, please. On signage, there were 2 sets of amendments that we are proposing as part of this ordinance. The first deals with narrowing the type of conditional exemptions to the sign code. And the second is clarifying when an increase in allowable square footage for wall and monument signs for multiple building complexes and multiple tenant buildings that have frontage on Interstate 5 may be approved. Yes, this is a highly specific change. Currently, the number of wall signs and the square footage of allowed wall and monument signs is not related to the size of the building or location relative to Interstate 5. We have found that there are instances where we have a building of such a size, and that's usually over 160,000 square feet, that is adjacent to I-5. The signage relative to the size of the building tends to get lost. So we made some adjustments to scale it a little more appropriately, but not go overboard. Next slide, please. Lastly, essential public facilities. The state law was amended 23 and 24. We are catching up on some of these items, and 25, excuse me. First set of legislation in 23 added opioid treatment facilities to the list of essential public facilities the city is required to allow to be cited in the community. Essential public facilities are defined by the state are those things essentially that everybody needs but nobody wants near them. Airports, large universities, all those kinds of things are things that are difficult to cite, but the state has basically stepped in and says the city must have a process to allow these uses within their jurisdiction. So we are matching the list of items that fall under that in our code. Last year, they also added improvements to high capacity transportation systems. That really doesn't apply to us yet. That applies, say, for the light rail system in Tacoma and Seattle and things of that nature, or bus rapid transit when and if that comes would be part of that. And we also clarified some of the language that has changed, some of the actual descriptions of some of the allowed essential public facilities have changed. So we've made some changes to reflect that. Next slide, please. So in terms of the steps in the process, all ordinances must go through environmental review through our State Environmental Protection Act. We completed a checklist in February, issued a determination of non-significance in March. What that essentially said is that no further environmental review is necessary under our code. And then the determination appeal period ended in March 26th with no appeals being filed or no comments being filed either. In addition, we have to submit to the Department of Commerce a notice of intent anytime that we prepare an ordinance for adoption. And the Department of Commerce has 60 days to review. They also can send it out to other state agencies for comment and so forth. Their comment period is not required to, it needs to be completed before final adoption. So that's the timing we're following for this, adoption being by the City Council. So that was submitted in February. The comment period ends on Monday, the 27th. So tonight we have the public hearing where the Commission will take action, ask any questions and so forth. And then provided the Commission approves a recommendation to go forward, City Council will consider that at a work session on the 28th, and then consideration and adoption of the ordinance on May 5th. Next slide, please. That should be it. Did the Commission have any questions?
Great, thank you. Yes, we'll move to our discussion. Any questions of Brad or remarks to make? All right, hearing none from us, I will go to the public comment portion of our hearing. And do we still have Mr. Bills or anyone else? Great. Mr. Bills, if you would like to address the Planning Commission on our topic of our public hearing, which is the housekeeping amendments ordinance that we're discussing, this would be the time to do so. If you wish to make some comments, if you could state your name and where you live and if you represent anyone. Go on ahead. You have 2 or 3 minutes. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Go on ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go on ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm working with a rather antiquated computer here. I really don't have any comments. I'm acting more as a fly on the wall for the Tumwater Chamber of Commerce tonight, just to get a feel for the vibe and what's going on in Tumwater right now. So I currently live in Olympia, but I'm in that jigsaw along North Street. So if you help my back fence, I'm actually in Tumwater. at across from Olympia High School. But I appreciate the discussion tonight, and again, I'm really more of a fly on the wall, and don't really have any commentary.
Very good. Well, we sure appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight. That's just terrific. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to close, and seeing as we have no other folks either online or in the room with us, just check. I'm going to close the public comment portion of our hearing, and we can have further discussion as a commission, or we can move right to taking some sort of an action. And again, we can, our choices are approve the staff recommendation and advance the housekeeping amendments to City Council. We can modify things, or we can deny it. Any discussion? Anybody want to make a motion?
I would move to approve the recommendations from staff and push it forward to the City Council.
Good. Is there a second?
Awesome.
Great. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Oh, no, I was going to say I'll second. So I got beat.
Okay. Okay. All right. It's been moved by Commissioner Rounsley and seconded by Commissioner Kirkpatrick to forward a recommendation for approval to the City Council for ordinance number O-2026-002, our 2026 housekeeping amendments, as we just heard from. Last call for any other conversation, discussion. Yep. All right, all in favor of recommending approval for the City Council for our ordinance O-2026-002, the 2026 housekeeping amendments, please say aye.
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 And it sounds like we're unanimous. So the motion is approved, and I will close our public hearing. All right. Let's see. Our next public hearing, or excuse me, our next commission meeting will not be until May 12th. Okay. So it'll be a little while. Got a little hiatus here. And can you remind me what our topic's going to be on that? You happen to know right off the top of your head?
I can open up the document.
Oh, that's okay. Well,
It may be an ordinance on building.
oh, okay. All right. Well, to be determined. We'll just await it, bated breath.
We will have topics on battery energy storage system, hopefully, barring some edits that we're working through, and then the comprehensive plan update for the economic development plan.
Very cool.
And demo,
And
demolition.
And the demolition thing. And just curious if we will, did we get a new economic development director? Yay. Coordinator. Okay, super.
He met with you because he gave a briefing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Maybe he'll be here. Okay. Well, with that, I think we've concluded all our business tonight, and so I'll declare our meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everybody.